Good morning, students. Today we will be studying chapter number 4, Daddy Bit the Doctor. Before starting with the chapter, I would like to explain you this is bit the doctor. Especially over here, the daddy bit the doctor. Daddy has bitten the doctor. एक specific doctor को काटा है. That is why the is present over here. And bit, that is bite का bit. This is the past form of bite. So we will be studying this chapter. We'll be reading slowly, line by line, and we'll be studying. So let's start with the chapter. Daddy bit the doctor. This piece has been taken from When Daddy Was a Little Boy by Alexander Ruskin. See, this is a poem. This is basically a story which has been extracted from from a piece that When Daddy Was a Little Boy, and it was written by Alexander Ruskin. And who is Alexander Ruskin? He is a great writer, means the one who writes the literatures, the poems, they are known as writers. And he lived and worked in Moscow. See, where he lived and worked in Moscow. Who takes you to the doctor when you fall sick? Sick. When you fall sick, who takes you to the doctor? So how do you express your gratitude towards the person in any way? We will be studying in this story about a little boy who is a little daddy actually who has bitten the doctor, right? So we will be studying. When Daddy was a little boy, he was forever catching a cold. This little boy, Daddy, when he was a little boy, then every time he used to catch cold and cough, and he would sneeze and cough. Sneeze मतलब छींक मारना and cough जो आप कहते हैं खांसी जुकाम हो जाना that. Sometimes he had a sore throat, and sometimes the throat it also gets sore. Sore means उसके अंदर कुछ बिटरपना आ जाता है. मतलब you can say there is pain in the throat. Sometimes he had an earache. What do you mean by earache? Ache, this word ache. This means pain, right? And ear can say कान में दर्द होना. Sometimes we say headache, सर में दर्द होना. And one day his parents took him to the doctor who had a sign outside the door that is written as ear, nose and throat specialist. One day his father take his little daddy to a doctor where displayed where in front of his clinic there was a board which is displayed, and it was written ear, nose and throat specialist. That means he was an that doctor was an ENT specialist, that is ear, nose and throat, right? And is that his name? Little daddy asked his father that is that name of a doctor? Please be still. That what he no that what he treats, please be still. वो कह रहे हैं उसके father is saying कि this is what he has done his specialization, but please be still, you just stay calm, we will be proceeding further. After the doctor had looked at the little daddy ear, nose and throat, he said that little daddy would have to have an operation. See, when the doctor saw his patient, he said that there is an emergent need of an operation for the ear, nose, and throat. He had have to his adenoids removed. What do you mean by adenoids? Adenoid is a kind of a flesh which got stuck between the nose and the throat, which has to be removed. So adenoid is a kind of a flesh that got stuck in the throat that has to be removed with the help of an operation. So took so they took little daddy to a big clinic. For the operation, they took little daddy to a big clinic. A very old, very stern, and very white haired professor said, "Open your mouth." There was a doctor who was a professor actually, and he was very stern. Stern means he was very strict. He was very strict as he was old, so he was having white hairs on his head. And when little daddy opened his mouth, the man didn't even say thank you. He just stuck his hand and see, when little daddy, he just opened his mouth, his doctor, the man, didn't even say thank you. He just start doing what he wants to do inside his mouth. He just stuck his hand in and began messing around inside. Begin messing around inside means he started doing his operation with the help of the instrument that he was carrying at that time. It was very painful and very unpleasant, means he was not at all happy and it was very painful, right? That is why when the professor said, ah, here they are. See, the professor saw those adenoids in his throat. So when he just pressed those adenoids, pressed those piece of flesh, that little daddy said, ah, and pressed still harder, he suddenly yelled and yanked his hand out of the little daddy's mouth. When he just pressed that flesh, that little daddy, he just shouted, he just screamed, he just yelled. You can see this yell means he shouted and yanked his hand out of the mouth कि अपने उसके मुंह से अपना हाथ हटा दिया out of the little daddy's mouth. Everyone could see that his thumb was bleeding, and everyone could see that his thumb was bleeding. See, here's a word written over here, harder. This is the comparative degree of adjective. There was a hush in the clinic. There was the hush in the clinic means there was lot of noise, lot of hodgepodge which is going inside the clinic. Right? Iodine, the professor said. He was given iodine. The professor said iodine that is to be given. So he was given an iodine. He dabbed some on his thumb. Then he said a big band-aid means he just dabbed his hand on the table and he said, now I need a band-aid. Before that, he needed a iodine. He was given a band-aid and he wrapped it around his thumb with his other hand. दूसरे हाथ से, with the help of the other hand, he was able to put the band-aid on the thumb. And see, there is a word written over here, iodine. Iodine, basically, when there is a lack of iodine in our body, then there is a disease that happens that is known as goiter. Goiter is a disease which takes place when there is a lack of iodine in our body. Then the professor said in a very low voice that I have been practicing for 40 years and this is the very first time that I have been bitten by someone. The doctor is saying that I have been practicing this profession since 40 years and I have never and ever saw this kind of an incident that took place that one of my patients he just bite me, right? You will have to find someone else to operate. I wash my hands of the whole affair. Doctor said that I won't be operating you further. I just wash my hands of the whole affair means that I don't want to operate you further. You can look for someone else. You can look to like you can look for any other doctor for your operation, but from now onwards I won't be operating you. After that, he washed his hand and with soap and water and he just left. He just did his hand wash and left of the clinic. Then grandpa became very angry. He said, we want you to see a very famous professor. Grandpa, that his grandfather, his father, he got very angry that we have taken you such to a very professional doctor, a very famous and a renowned doctor, but you didn't. You made him so angry, right? He wanted to make you well. The doctor, the purpose, the aim of the doctor is to make you well, to remove the adenoids from your throat so that from now onwards you won't be suffering from any cold and cough. And what did you do? I want you to know that there is a militia station around the corner. What he's saying that what you did, आपने क्या किया? I just want to know that I want to know that there is a militia station around the corner. Militia station is the station where the military people reside, right? And that's why they think the boy who bites the doctor, and that is the place where they thought that how the doctors have been bitten. To think I promised you some ice cream after the operation. Dadaji said to that little dandy that after your operation, I have promised you to that I'll be giving you an ice cream of your favorite flavor. In those days, people believed that after such an operation, children just had to have ice creams because it supposedly stopped the bleeding. See, when there is any issues which are regarding to our gums, when it is regarding to our throat, and at that time it was believed that if any problem that is related to our gums, then it is preferred to have a cold dessert. Like they have, children just have to have an ice cream after the throat problem, or you can say after an operation, and after that the bleeding will be stopped. When little daddy heard the word ice cream, he became thoughtful because he was never allowed to have any. See, When little daddy he heard of having an ice cream after the operation, he became very thoughtful. What do you mean by thoughtful over here? Means he started to think that if I would have not done this, I would have got an ice cream. Since he was not allowed, since grandpa and grandma they were afraid that his ENT would get still worse because he was not given an ice cream, because his grandmother and his grandfather always thought that there must be this little daddy could caught with a problem of his throat. That is why he was never given an ice cream. But little daddy loved ice cream, and little daddy used to love ice cream. And so, thinking about the ice cream, little daddy said that I won't be biting the doctor anymore. So what did he said? That he said that when he was thoughtful about the ice cream, he got greedy about the ice cream. So he promised his grandfather that further he won't be anymore. He won't be biting the doctor. Please just call him. Okay. Still, the young doctor who came in after the old professor has talked out warned the little daddy. See, still the young doctor he just came out when he was talked out by the grandfather. Talked out means look after. He warned the little daddy. किसको warn कर दिया? Little daddy को, that now remember you promised. Little daddy repeated that I won't be biting you anymore. He said that just remember with your promise, stick by your words that you won't be biting the doctor anymore. After it was all over, the doctor said, you are a fine boy. Now you can have some ice cream. After the operation took place, the doctor told the little daddy that you are absolutely fine and you can take your ice cream. And what is your favorite flavor? The doctor said to the little daddy that, what is your favorite flavor? Vanilla, the little daddy said and looked at grandpa, but grandpa was still angry at him. He told the doctor that my favorite flavor is vanilla, and but grandpa he was very angry. He got because he was still angry with the little daddy. Now, not this time, he said, next time when you have learned to behave, don't bite. What his Dadaji is saying, his Dadaji is saying, just learn to behave. From the very next time when you will be visiting the doctor, you won't be biting any of the doctor anymore, right? When little daddy realized that there wouldn't be any ice cream after all, he burst into tears. When little daddy he came to know that after this operation, once they have given you the favorite flavor ice cream, after that no more ice cream will be given, and he burst into tears, means he started weeping. He started weeping. उन्हें क्या हो गया? बहुत ही ज्यादा रोना आ गया. Burst into tears means he started weeping. Everyone felt sorry for him, but grandpa was very firm. Everyone was feeling sympathy, was giving sympathy towards the little daddy, as he could not have the ice cream further. So, but grandpa he was very firm. Firm means he was very strict. He was ekdam strict towards his words, right? Stuck to his words. Little daddy felt that it was so unfair, but he still remember it to this day. Still, he will be remembering this day that I was given an ice cream, but little daddy, he realized that he would not have done. No matter how much ice cream he had since then, vanilla, whether it's chocolate or whether it's strawberry, he can't forget the ice cream. What he's saying that no matter how much ice cream he had earlier, like whatever the flavor will be, it can be vanilla, it can be chocolate, or you can say it can be strawberry. He cannot even forget that day that he was promised by his father to give him. He was promised to him by his grand father to give him an ice cream straight after the operation. After that operation, little daddy stopped getting sick as often he used to. As often he used to get sick every time. Now, after the operation, it was all absolutely fine. He was feeling fine, and there was no cold and cough. It was happening again and again. He sneezed less and coughed less, and his throat hurt less, so did his ear. It means that he was not facing an issue in the ear, nose, and throat afterwards the operation. The operation helped little daddy very much. He understood that sometimes you have to stand a little pain to feel better afterwards. What he's saying, the operation helped the little daddy that He understood that sometimes to get fine, we have to go through a pain. We have to go through a little pain to get to better, or you can say to make ourselves feel healthy and sometimes to get better in our health. This, yes, felt better afterwards. So we have to face some of the pain. And though many different doctors they cut and pricked him after he had never bite a single one. After this operation, he met with several doctors who operate on his throat, or you can say ear and nose. But with that doctor, when he was acquainted with that doctor, he didn't even bite a single one. Single egg किसी doctor को नहीं bite किया, because he knew that they were all trying to help him. These all the doctors, they are trying to help him, making him feel better, removing the infection from his throat so that he won't be facing any of the problems further. After each visit to the doctor, he had to buy himself some ice creams because daddy loves to have that ice cream every day. After the several meetings, after meeting with the several doctors and after getting treated by the several doctors, he had to buy some of the ice creams for himself so that he could feel better, and there will be like less bleeding if there is, if he is able to take an ice cream. This was a short story which has been written by Alexander Ruskin, right? This is basically an extract which has been taken from one of the chapters. I hope you all like this chapter. Please go through this chapter, and in this chapter we have studied that sometimes when we face any health issues, we have to reach to the doctor as soon as possible. We should not take our diseases so lightly, especially in case of ear, nose, and throat, because they are the, you can say, they are basically the sense organs, especially ears and nose. They are the sense organs which helps to smell and hear in our day-to-day lives. We should not compromise with our health, and we should take care of our health. We should drink at least 8 glasses of water each day, and we should avoid eating junk food outside, because it not only destroys our personalities but it also makes us more dull. It makes our personalities more dull by eating all these junk food day to day lives. We are not eating anything healthy. I hope you all know this, and I hope you all like this chapter. Please go through this chapter and read and write down all the difficult words that you have been facing in this. I hope you liked it. Thank you, and stay hydrated, stay happy, and keep studying. Thank you.